Welcome to The Row Show.
In South Africa.
It brings people together, it breaks down barriers.
Winning,
To be the best. Being the best is something we strive
There's
for.
crucial role in South Africa.
compassion,
Great passion, fiction,
gold,
ultimate goal.
glory, relentless training, pain.
Welcome everyone to another episode of The Row Show. And today we're going to have a look at the second edition of the Olympic preview, where we're going to have a closer look at the doubles. This includes the lightweight doubles and the heavyweight doubles. And I am joined by, as always, Mr. Brittain. Welcome to the show. It's a bit different this time around.
Yeah, trying a bit of video. So if you are on YouTube and watching this episode, it is our first video episode. Hopefully it makes it up there. If not, can go and look and see if it's up. If you're listening and at your usual place, Spotify or wherever else you listen to your podcast, go across and have a look. You can now see our faces, which might make it worse.
Oh, better, depending
on what you want. But yeah, we want to try, and it's been something we wanted to do for a while. And Jake and I have an awesome day today to be able to kind of record a few of the Olympic preview episodes in the build up to the Paris Games, which we are so excited for. I think the Olympics, the hype is really building for us, going through the research, doing the prep work on these events and looking at the crews and everyone that's going to be racing has made it very real and very exciting. And we can't wait to dig in, give you guys the lowdown on all these events and athletes racing. And I think that this is an awesome step for the Row Show and for the content that we bringing and providing. So yeah, we're enjoying it. Really, really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. And Jake, I think we should kick things off straight into the doubles.
Yeah.
I think we'll start with the lightweight women's double. It used to be our gladiator event. It was last Olympic cycle. It was absolutely brutal. Every single race was a gamble on who was going to win, who was going to take away the medals, who was even going to be in the A final. I feel like this cycle, it's been a little bit more under control. The athletes that have been winning, being a bit more consistent, a few bigger margins.
The athletes winning. Two athletes consistently
winning everything.
Yeah.
But really, really still an exciting event. And I still think there's some spicy discussions to be had around this event. So Jake, do you want to, let's jump into the history?
Yeah, the history, I think, you talk about how spicy the event has been, but I think we should, to sort of emphasize that, is that the record has broken since the last Olympics, but also in the last, if you include Tokyo, in the last 4 years, the record was broken 4 times. So it just goes to show that it might not be as competitive perhaps as the last cycle, but the standard has improved significantly in the lightweight women's double.
No, definitely. I think there's that element of, there's a lot of crews all around the same place. And now I feel like there's a standout crew that's pulled the whole field, maybe a bit apart, but also into, a much faster territory. So if we look at it, and actually such an interesting kind of conversation around the world record, because when we spoke about the pairs and the fours in our previous Olympic preview, the men's pair and men's four have really fast world records where people haven't been able to get within 5 seconds of the world record for a while. And really you could see then that world record is been set at a high standard and it's hard to chase. Whereas in the lightweight women's double in 2016, the build up to the 2016 Olympic Games, the world record was not particularly fast. I remember in our own team, the lightweight girls who were exceptional athletes, really good crew, but always performing very, very high on the percentage sheet. When we race each other, it would be really difficult.
Stop out if you're in the heavyweight pair.
Yeah. So the record used to sit at a 6:47, and we always knew this thing in the right conditions is going to go because there were just crews hitting 6:48s, 6:49s, like consistently every regatta there would be crews going under 6:50. yet they would never go under 6:47. So there were a lot of times raced in that bracket. Then the record started to go, and Tokyo, obviously I don't know what happened through COVID and everything, but
things
people
changed.
decided that it was time for this record to go. So World Cup 3 in 2021, Ilse Paulus and Marika Keizer from the Netherlands took it from 47 to 43, a massive 4-second jump in the world record. Then straight away, same year, down to 41.99 by the British.
In the first semi-final of the games.
Yeah, exactly. By Imogen Grant and Emily Craig. And then the Italians took it that last little step more, 6:41.36. That was in the A final at the Olympic Games.
And that's already 6 seconds faster than where it used to be.
No, it's outrageous.
But the story hasn't ended there, because things have even progressed. I think it might be the only record that's gone this.
The only record that's gone this cycle.
Yeah.
And the last record to 4. And 2023, Emily Craig and Imogen Grant took it back from when they held it briefly in Tokyo, and have set a very high standard, 6:14.47. That's spicy.
So that's super spicy. And what's quite interesting is on our, regatta madness analysis, which is our sort of spreadsheet that we have after every regatta to see what times are the most competitive. Even though the record has changed so much in lightweight women's double, they're not winning events like they used to, but the lightweight women's double is still performing sort of in the mid-table, which just goes to show how fast these women are. And also I think it's quite special talking about them now, because this is probably going to be the last time we see them racing at the Olympics, for probably a while, until, hopefully things change. Olympics, please, world rowing. I think to kick things off, there's probably no other way but to start with the most dominant crew in world rowing. And I'm really terrified of starting by saying that, because all the other crews I've said that in the last 2 years have lost their magic.
No,
but
I don't think you have an impact on how the British are going to perform at this Olympics. And I mean, we've had
Imogen and Emily on our show.
Yeah, we've had both of them on our show, and Emily's come on a few times, even for our Regatta
Imogen's
Madness.
come on a few times for Regatta Madness.
Classic.
Don't worry, she'll forgive you.
And no, really, really cool. And so just to jump in straight to their performances, they've been unbelievable this cycle. Every time they take to the water, produce massive results. They had one hiccup where they were injured, had a substitution, and didn't quite.
But you can say,
result, but still pretty still fast.
Fast.
And then every time they've been racing on the track, they've kind of been in a league of their own.
But I think you can say even as a combination, they're unbeaten. So that time the combination changed and they lost. But as a combination, they are unbeaten since the last Olympics, and they are so far ahead of the rest of the field.
How many crews are they unbeaten this cycle?
I think this is the only one. No one else.
There is.
There's no one else.
Carolyn
Florine, yes, Karen Florine. Sorry, I make a mistake here.
Come on,
Jake.
mistake.
Sorry.
We're on video as well. We're on video. We have to perform.
So they and the unbeaten streak, I feel like has been a bit of a curse, because since last year.
There's one more crew they've been beaten once. GB Men's 8.
It's been beaten once. But still, dude, that doesn't count as unbeaten.
I know. It's not easy to
maintain.
And Imogen claimed it as well. She say, I think it was beginning of last season.
It was Emily Craig. She said that she wants to have an unbeaten season, but she's backed that up. I thought when I heard that it was a World Cup 1 in 2022, she said that. But she's backed that up now for 3 seasons.
That's outrageous. Just to say that is proper, to have that confidence, which is so awesome.
And I think, what's even better about this is that anyone that's watched rowing for a number of years can understand that lightweight racing is naturally so close. And to have a lightweight double that's so far ahead of the rest of the field just is it's just I cannot emphasize enough how dominant this crew has been because of the fact that they're lightweight and they're still winning by such big margins. And I'm going to go out and say that they are the best lightweight double of all time, even before the Olympics.
Jeez.
They've got the record.
That is spicy.
The only thing they have to do to cement their legacy and unbeaten run is to win Olympic gold. Win Olympic gold, the best of all time. And it's a tough argument to say anyone else can take that title.
Well, I would say that the people that come close are Ilse and Marika, but they also didn't manage to take the gold.
No, Ilse and I think Micah Head, the 2016 combination.
Yeah.
You know, they were Olympic champs and they had the record.
Yeah.
But also think about Imogen and, you know, they've been part of a generation of lightweight doubles that have taken that record. And it's not just them, it's a whole lot of them. But they are the forefront of the generation of taking that record from 47 now to 40.
Yeah, 7 seconds.
7 seconds of a record. I mean, think about it. If you take the men's age record and drop it by 7 seconds, what does it give you? 5:12. That's crazy.
Yeah, but you can't compare that.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, like, it's crazy.
Throwing some shade, yeah.
I'm throwing some shade at the men's age.
Okay, so let's talk about their big competition. So I would say their biggest competition, USA. There are other crews we're going to get into, but I would say the USA crew they've been the closest to them. They've been within a second of them at World Cup 2, at Lucerne.
And at World Champs.
So, but I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone can really.
Yeah, I would think so. The way I see this, I would say GB needs to make a mistake for another crew to beat them. That's the only way they're going to do it. I think technically, mentally, physically, physiologically, every single avenue you can look at that, they've been untouchable. But I think if we're starting to talk about the crews that are in the next sort of group, the next conversation around taking those second and third medals and who else can maybe go for the gold medal. USA is number one. They've come super close to USA have come super close to beating GB. I think
New Zealand is where I would go next.
No, I would even
Jackie
say
Kittle is a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah,
she really is, and she almost should have an Olympic gold as well. Like, there's a few people on this list of lightweights that have, you know, things. It's such a tough event because it's so close, so tight all the time, and there's no like backup. You know, if you're a heavyweight rower, things don't go your way. There's so many other boat classes to get into and perform, and especially if you are the best. Like, if you're the best athlete, no matter what country you race in, there's going to be an option for you as a heavyweight rower. But if you're a lightweight rower, you need another teammate to be on your level to perform and to get a result. You know, there's no backup plan for that. And I think Jackie Kittle has fallen into like that trap where she's so good, but you have to have two people to perform as a crew. And she's never really had that. So I do think that, yes, maybe they haven't got the results that you know, kind of indicate that the cycle, but I still would put them up there because I think she's such a phenomenal athlete. And then I would say Romania as well, definitely in there for the conversation.
Yeah, I think Romania are going to continue this trend in all the events we talk about. They have this wild card element to them. I think it goes hand in hand with the fact that they haven't raced as much. And while this combination has stayed consistent for a number of years, the things I feel like Romania have been really undercover this year. You know, they only raced the Europeans, so you never know with this lightweight combination. And fun fact, something that I learned in doing some research in history class. That's a good way to put it. This Romanian double is the only other crew that I found that's under 23 champion and world champion the same year, and they did it in 2017, lightweight double. So this Romanian double's a world champion in this event when they were under 23s.
And I think that goes to why we keep bringing up the Romanians, because I think if another country was in their position, not having raced this whole season, changing all their crews, I mean, even Italy with a lot of their changes of their crews, you know, we start to doubt them very quickly, but Romania have had a phenomenal cycle. They've really been on the front foot. Every world champs, they've performed extremely well. If you look back at the medal tables on the regattas that they've attended properly, they're near the top every single time. So they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of good athletes, and I think in nearly all these events, they have the opportunity of performing, of coming there, laying it out, and coming away with medals. So I think, and this is a combination that is tried and tested. It's not, now we're throwing the bones and we're seeing who's coming out and who's the lucky draw to race in this event.
Yeah.
So I think out of the Romanian team, this is definitely one to watch out for big time.
You don't think that there's, in rowing, there is like there gets to a period where if you've been rowing with the same crew, especially in pair combinations for too long, there gets to a point where like it gets super hard to maintain your peak output?
I think, but that's long. I think you need also a certain minimum amount of time to find your peak output.
Especially in these smaller
the
combinations.
Pairs and doubles often are full of the medals are with crews that have been around for a while, raced a lot of times together. You have to have that like strong steel partnership together with your crewmates to perform at this kind of level. So if you look at even the Kiwi pair raced in the 4 together, they spent a long time together before then coming and being so dominant in the pair. And I think, if they'd raced another cycle, they probably would have carried on winning. So I don't think
that's a good point.
There's many crews that, I think the getting stale part is less important than actually, solidifying your style, your training technique, and finding people that, you fit together and can row well together. So I think the time is almost more important, and the Romanians are not old.
Yeah, it is a good point. But yeah, Romania is definitely one to look out for, and I think also to bring up the French combination. It's their home Olympics. It's super special for them, and I think throughout the series, to the listeners out there, we are going to speak about the French combinations if we get the chance. I know we missed the men's 4, but we're definitely going to try and talk about the French combinations that are going to be racing at their home Olympics. And, this might be the combination that has got the highest chance of winning a medal, them and the men's double. But I know the men's double have been struggling recently, very similar to this double. They haven't been able to maintain the form that they had at the Tokyo Olympics where they won the silver medal. It's been really tough. They didn't qualify last year at World Champs. I don't know what happened. So this year they've had to go through late qualifications, but they did it. They won it, and they seem to be back on decent form. They came second at the third World Cup, and they passed it. They've got a pretty fast time. Their fastest time ever in the doubles is 6:42. So they have the recipe there for a super fast race. The question is, in an event that has seen such strong consistency, will they be able to provide? Will they be able to produce the goods at the Olympics in Paris?
The French are very interesting for me across the board because, it's home Olympics. They are going to be desperate to win a medal and come away with the result. They've got Jürgen Krobler there, who's also going to be, if he wins a gold medal, it will be big for him.
And do you think Jürgen's going to provide that much value to classes like the lightweight double that he's not probably outwardly known for influencing that much?
For sure. He's been part of a system that has got how many results and how many things. Like he could take on any club, any system. If you went to a school club, he's making an impact on every single event and every single age group. So I don't think that... And people like to think that these rowing events are like so wildly different. There's not that much different. Like we know from racing against our own team, you can easily line up against a lightweight women's double and have a cracker race.
Yeah.
It's, the fundamentals are the same. And
the impact of the home Olympics, do you think it produces a bigger positive impact than the negative impact? Negative impacts like the pressure.
It's definitely more positive.
More positive.
Yeah. I think
you
some
definitely
people
want to race at your home Olympics.
I think some people won't handle that pressure well, but I think these good athletes will
Lightweights, the lightweight women are probably the best at handling pressure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
any rows.
I'm saying that the wrong athletes the pressure will affect them in the wrong way, whereas good athletes, this kind of pressure will bring out the best in him every time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Home Olympics.
Home Olympics. Well, I think that's a wrap for our lightweight double. Hey, Lawrence, is there anyone else there?
It's crazy how that event has changed.
It's changed so much. It's changed so much this cycle. Like we said before, GB are definitely the out-and-out favourites, the most dominant crew at the moment in the world rowing, together with Caroline Florijn from the Netherlands. But to sort of summarise our outlook on who can do really well, USA is probably, in our opinion, and the Rocha opinion carries some weight, eh? In our opinion, the USA double is probably the next best combination to be fighting in Paris, but you cannot count out the New Zealand combination. Jackie Kittle, who was a world champion back in 2019, however, never got to convert that at the Tokyo Olympics. You have the French combination racing at the Home Olympics, and the Romanians, who have been, pretty consistent over a number of years. And what's quite interesting, actually, in closing, is that the medalists that were at the previous Olympics are now sort of not quite at the forefront of the event, and all the crews that missed out on the medal, GB, USA, and Romania, are now on the forefront. So it's a super big handover.
No, it's amazing.
But tell me about the lightweight men's double, Lawrence.
Yeah, we'll go straight across into another cracking event. And I love the history of this event.
Yeah,
because,
me too.
South Africa has a little bit of a mark on the history of this event. So, I mean, you can't talk about the lightweight double without talking about the Irish and how dominant they've been, for the last how many years. Finton and Paul O'Donovan, they hold the world record 6:05:33 from Tokyo. A smidge.
Just faster.
Just a
smidge faster.
Faster than our South African lightweights from 2014. So we spoke about this in the fours and pairs. Like, it's funny because there's such clear regattas that have fast times. There's Seville 2002
in Spain,
consistently showing up on the record books with fast times. There's Tokyo, had a lot of world records go. And then I think the other big one is 2014, the Bosbaan Amsterdam. We know that course is cracking fast. I think a lot of under 23 records are there, a lot of senior records are there. And the lightweights, James Thompson and John Smith, got 6:05:36.
So 0.03 slower.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm sure that burns James.
Burns him badly. I have given John a lot of shit about that. John, if you're listening, I'll keep giving you shit.
Yeah. And what was actually really funny though is that the record was set at 6:10 from 2007 with the Danish lightweight double, and then 2014 in the semi-final, the French, who were by far the favorites for that regatta, Jeremy Azu and Stanley finishing at a 6:08:64. Taking that record 2 seconds quicker. They must have been very chuffed with that. Final came around, and John and James managed to
snake the win
and take it. But I think this is another event. It's been really close, and it's always available for other people to win. John and James coming in at World Champs, taking that win. But there have been standout crews over the last couple of years. Jeremy Azu, he was an absolute legend in this event.
He's definitely, if you're having a conversation of the greatest lightweight rowers, he's in that conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's ridiculous. And I mean, I don't know what ergo time does he have the fast one of the fastest ergo times?
Definitely one of the
under
fastest.
6 minutes, like 5:56 or something.
Then the Irish, the O'Donovan brothers first, and then into Finton and Paul.
Not as dominant as they used to be, though. Hey?
No, this season
a bit shaky.
A little bit shaky.
But I still think, even in saying that, they aren't as dominant as they used to be. But I don't think it's necessarily a case that they've gotten slower. I think it's the case that their two biggest rivals of the last couple of years, Italy, or probably even more than that, Italy's been in the picture for super long, Italy and Switzerland, I think they've gone quite a lot faster.
I think there was they had an injury, or they had a rough start to this season, I think, because this season they started off Paul racing in the heavyweight single still performed, made a final at the first World Cup, I think.
B final at Europeans, I think.
Okay. Well, Jake,
it's fine.
To be correct. But, he had a good start to the season. And then, and so I think that there was an injury. Maybe Finton was out for a bit, or, something that was happening. Then they've come back in third at Lucerne. Still a bit of work to do, but they're a phenomenal crew. And, it's hard to put your money on other people, I think, when they are taken to the water. I mean, if you just think of Tokyo, they just took that race by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah,
there was even though they were under pressure the whole time, the Germans really put them under pressure throughout that third quarter of the race. But they just always seem to be able to go that little bit deeper, a little bit harder than any of their competition.
And I think it's also worth noting that they do have the record. And if you're talking about a performance ceiling, they've demonstrated by far the greatest potential of performance against the Swiss and Italians. The Swiss and Italians haven't produced speeds that are that quick, like 6:05. I don't know what their next fastest time is, but it's not as fast as that. But I still think they're favourites going into the regatta. I know obviously this year it's been a little bit rocky. Things haven't quite gone their way, but I don't think you could, if you were a betting man, you definitely still counting the Irish for the win. Especially, I feel like as soon as they get back together in double, which I'm assuming that they have, and putting in that effort, I still think they're going to be solid favourites for gold.
I think the other people that I would really like to see is Italy coming away with a win there. Stefano Oppo, he's been in this boat class for so long. He's got so many silvers, so many bronze medals. It would be pretty cool if he managed to.
You think Italy's the favorites, second favorites, or Switzerland?
I think the Swiss are ranked second, and I would put my money there. But it would be cool to see Stefano come away. And Italy, they do have that bit of X factor when it comes to the Olympics. Things can go terribly wrong for them. We saw at Tokyo catching crabs in the men's quad, things like that. But they also can deal with huge turmoil quickly and turn around and come away with a result. I mean, if you look at the men's 4, positive COVID test on the morning of the A final,
just get it done.
Use a substitution and still come away with an Olympic medal. It's like that kind of thing. I think the Italians, they're so good at adapting. And these Olympic regattas, something that we haven't really touched on, they're always a little bit more spicy than other regattas. You go to Lucerne, you know exactly what to expect. You know the bus to take. You know the hotel you're going to stay in. You know the kind of food you're going to eat throughout the week. You know what the water is going to be like, where you're going to put your boat. Like everything is, it's predictable. It's predictable and done. Whereas Olympic regatta, you often racing at a place that no one has raced at. You're racing in conditions that are not, the place that they put the rowing is not there because it's a perfect place to row. It's there because that's the closest, best place that they can host the rowing at an Olympic Games. So often the weather is terrible and things are not running as smoothly, and there's always a little bit more kind of pressure around this regatta. So I think countries like, that can deal with the pressure and the changes and the weather, things like that, often come away a little bit better come Olympics.
I also think a thing that counts well for Italy is that they have had the most ridiculous selection these last couple of years. And, they've almost been molded in the most intense conditions that you can have. I can imagine even the training and racing within their own countries in a way almost more intense than it can be against their sort of their peers in the international scene. But I think just talk a bit more about Switzerland. I think it's really cool to have a super fast Swiss double. They've developed really well these last couple of years, and they are now very hot favorites. And it's hard to pick. I'd say gold is favorites for Ireland, but you could give me any order of between Switzerland, Italy, and Ireland. I wouldn't be surprised. Switzerland have shown real maturity. They're probably the least experienced and youngest of the three crews, but they have showed a lot of maturity in their international racing, and they produce some serious speeds. I think their world champs race last year. I know they lost to the Irish, but I feel like they're starting to get to the Irish's level. And they've had a fantastic season this year. And we'll see what happens. Olympics often has this effect of bringing out the best, especially in younger combinations. I think sometimes when you're young and you get to the Olympics, you sometimes, I feel like, can rise to the occasion where
for sure.
The novelty of the Olympics has a bigger effect on the younger group, the younger athletes.
And in the right athletes, that's a positive impact. So I don't think there are other crews there, but we don't really need to chat about them. Maybe in our hype train, and when we're having episodes during the week, maybe we will be eating our words and be talking about other athletes in other countries. But I think I want to move to women's double. Incredible racing also. Again, I think in every boat class, there's the best of the best coming to the Olympics, so it's always going to be good racing. Talking about the history, Australia currently holding the Olympic, the world record, 6:37.31. Olympia Adelcy and Sadie Kehoe. And that was
2014
again. A while ago.
Yeah. 2014, it's crazy to say that's a while ago.
Then, and before that, 2002 Seville, exactly another big event that had world records go, and also very close, only 1.5 seconds coming off that world record with set by the Ever Swindells.
Yeah, legends.
And we know that how fast they were. We know how good that they were coming out of the Kiwi system.
Coached by Dick Tonks as well.
Yeah, and trained with Rob Waddell, and, just kind of built around just huge performances around the Kiwis as they were kind of emerging at that stage. And I want to talk about something here, Jake, so now the heavyweight double record, 6:37. What do you think? It's only 3 seconds quicker than the lightweight doubles record. And it kind of makes me think a bit, obviously we're sad to see the lightweights go, but 3 seconds, is that enough to kind of have a whole separate division? How much faster if you took the British girls, Imogen and Emily, if you took them and you said, cool, no way in, no nothing, just train for the season and see how fast you can go, that they couldn't put another second or two onto their own record?
You know what? I think Imogen and Emily would be competitive in the heavyweight women's double. I think if you took out, just based off the interacting with them, I don't think they struggle to make weight. I imagine even if they didn't have to weigh in, I don't think they would be that much heavier. So they probably would have incremental gains on their physiology. I don't think they're getting limited, put it this way, by the weighing in physiologically. So I don't think they're going to make that much gains. But I still think they will be competitive in
it's just like a thought of it's a different way of looking at it, because obviously we're sad to see the lightweights go. We think that there's great value, there's huge potential and awesome racing that come out of the lightweight events. I mean, I can feel when we missed the lightweight 4, and there's definitely a piece missing, but are they that much slower than the heavyweights that these athletes wouldn't be able to row? As the best lightweight rowers will make heavyweight crews.
Yeah, I think it's in this case, it's just the top. So I think Emily and Imogen would definitely be competitive. And I'm just looking now at our notes. Imogen and Emily have rowed a faster time than the Romanian double. So this cycle.
Holy shit.
So if you put that in perspective, if Emily and Imogen were racing the heavy doubles at these Olympics, they would be going in with, I just need to double check, but I think they would be going in with the fastest time in their event.
That's a big call, Jake.
So based off that, on paper, in both lightweight and heavyweight doubles, I guess I'm going to say that Emily and Imogen would be the favorites to win.
Cool.
A combined
event. And then to add on to the other side of the coin, we also think that this is a record that could go.
That's another discussion that we have.
This is probably, out of all the world records, this is one of the slower, I say it with a bit of sarcasm, because there's no world record that is slow. By no means I'll stretch
No,
out the
no,
word.
definitely not.
But there have been 20 crews that have raced within 5 seconds of the world record. Whereas when you look at pairs and
It's not the
women's
same.
single
Not the
and
same.
stuff, it's like, only a handful, only a couple, that have come that close. So I do think that this is a world record that is primed to kind of take that next step up.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about some of the crews, Jake.
Well, I thought you were going to start this by saying the spicy selection that's happened in the double since they've announced the Olympic cruise. So to our listeners out there, the Romanian double, if you've been watching rowing at all the last 3 years, you'll understand that the Romanian double has been one of the most dominant crews until 2024. They lost for the first time for a number of years at the first World Cup.
At the beginning of the season, if you'd said, Jake, you have one crew to put all your money on,
I would still put it on Imogen and Emily. Romania are close.
They had a bigger winning margin.
Oh, shit. That's actually true. I think I might have put it on Romania.
They were winning some of these world champs this cycle. They won by like 8 seconds.
Yeah.
It's huge.
No, it's ridiculous.
They were almost untouchable. Now,
it's changed.
First of all, they're not even racing.
They're not racing.
So the crew combination has changed. We now have Adriada Maria and Nukta.
And Kuta Bodnar.
And Kuta, there we go.
Simona Radis has decided to move into the women's 8, which is something we'll pick up at a later stage. It seems that
so Bodnar, is she from the double?
Bodnar is from the double originally, and
yes.
then
Radis has gone into the 8, and now
Andrada Maria Marasanu is now in the double.
Jake, that's why we pay you to pronounce these names.
Yeah, it's
not my strength, guys. I'm struggling here.
It's all right. But yeah, so the thing is, it's the question that you're going to ask yourself is how much of an impact is this going to have on their speed? Are the Romanian double now with Andrada in going to be as competitive? Obviously, they're not going to be as competitive, but are they still going to be capable of medaling? Are they going to medal?
Yes.
You think they can still medal?
They can still take the bronze medal. I think it's going to be, I don't know, Lithuania for me, like they have cracking races.
Oh, so you think Lithuania are the next?
No, I think Norway is going to take the gold.
Yo, that's a spicy call.
Norway, Lithuania. Sure, that's to say Romania over. I don't know.
There's some good crews.
There's a good crews, but I think so. Norway have had a phenomenal. I mean, this season just come out and really laid. Put their stake in the ground, put their flag up and said, cool, guys, we the crew to beat now. We'll take it from Romania. Lithuania, though, came in maybe a little bit earlier, started boxing with Romania last season. And I think those two crews have kind of really stepped up. So for me, Norway just looks so good on an absolute winner this season. If they've had a good build-up, I don't see Lithuania coming and racing them. But Lithuania have huge history in the boat.
Massive history.
I mean, Donata has got massive credentials.
Yeah, veteran from Rio, where she won a bronze medal with Mulder. And she's back now. And I think what surprised me the most was their race at Europeans last year was sort of the first sign that the Romanian double were under pressure. And I think they've been struggling a little bit to maintain that sort of form this year. But the way I see the women's double is that it's sort of wide open to many crews now, especially the fact that the Romanian double's changed and the fact that there are so many different crews that have been doing well. So it's not just the fact that the Romanians have sort of changed the combination and not as dominant, but you have the Norwegians that have improved so much. You have the Australians who have improved so much.
I was going to say, because the Australians,
Australians also, I'm like,
very
where they've come. They've raced B final last year, and it seems that they've cannibalized their women's quad, which finished, got a medal at the last Olympics. They've cannibalized their women's quad, and they've put
Yeah. So Amanda and Harriet have come in, and Harriet won bronze in the quad.
Harriet won bronze in the quad. It can advise that Harriet's made a big impact on Australia's performance, and they seem to be one of the crews that are definitely up there on winning. So it's really tough. And even the crews here, we haven't spoken about the Irish combination, which I thought I've got a bit of an outside shot. They're young. Zoe Hyde has raced with Sunita the last couple of years. They've had some good results, including a podium finish in 2022. But Alison Bergen is a young athlete that's raced at under 23s. And again, these younger athletes, they have such a steep improvement curve that you don't know how much she's improved when it comes to racing in Paris. So especially in this event where there's so many different moving parts and there's so many crews that are still sort of forming their ability and their consistency, it takes a crew like Ireland to have a crack a day and then they're going to walk away with the medal. The same goes for
USA.
For the USA.
And I mean, like, these crews are all super dangerous. On there, if they get it right, the lane blows nicely for them that day. And
changes.
The results are going to swing for sure. So I even made a note here to say, like, there's a lot of events that it's so dependent on, how the crews have handled these last 2 months building up into the Olympics, which is a very, very difficult part of the season to get right and to kind of be able to perform at. There's training, there's tapering into the Olympic Games. The regatta is a long regatta, a whole week. Actually, it's nearly 9 days long. Starts on Saturday, ends on the next Saturday. It's 8 days long, and they have a day in case the weather's bad. So the regatta is a different kind of format to ones that you're used to racing. There's so many variables at play at the Olympics, like we spoke about earlier. So crews that come around and have the performance and, all their stars align, can easily take gold, especially in events like this where there is not much room to maneuver.
And it's also like, it's just, again, it's 2024, the women's double 2024 is almost it's happened independently to the last 2 years just because of the stage of the event, the changes. Like this event now does not feel similar and familiar compared to the event last year and the event in 2020, and certainly not the event in Tokyo.
And it's funny because I'm falling into like such a classic like spectator. So, I mean, I love it when crews are dominating and they're winning by miles and stuff. It's also like, it's a different kind of appreciation because you can appreciate how fast, like when Romania is winning by 8 seconds down the track, and you watch that and you're looking at a world-class crew that can do that. But it's way cooler to watch the battle coming down the track, the lead changing hands.
Yeah.
You want that spiciness, whereas I think this Olympics, this is what's happened to this event.
Yes.
It's really
it's going to be super spicy. And we talk about in the men's double, the seeding and the progression in this event is going to be disgusting. The heats, there's going to be, I predict, mark my words, there's going to be one heat of death in the women's double, and in the men's double, heat of death. There are going to be people going into rep charges that probably have a very strong chance of winning gold. And maybe to summarize the last crew I wanted to quickly mention in the double, very outside shot, is the Chinese crew of Xiyu Lu and Shang Mei Shen, who, while they haven't been consistent, they haven't performed much, they've had 1 or 2 really good races. But the reason I'm highlighting them is that they've posted one of the fastest times in the women's double last year, was 6:41, which puts them right in the competitive mix at the top of the field.
Something has bit me.
What happened?
I don't know, but I've got an itch.
Yeah, you never know what gets you out here in South Africa.
At least, if it was Australia, we were going straight to the hospital.
Yeah, straight to hospital. Anyway, to summarize, we have Romania, and they're no favorites. Firstly, we should probably say we don't think they're any
Norway
favorites.
is the favorites.
Norway is your favorite. I don't think there's favorites.
Norway and Lithuania are the...
I would say USA. I would say USA are the favorites.
Okay, no favorites.
No favorites. You have Romania, USA, Norway,
so
Australia.
I got absolutely roasted for my claims of podiums in the in the men's pairs and fours and events there. So now I want you to give a call here for the podium for the women's double?
I'm going with my heart here.
No.
I'm going with my heart.
Oh,
How else am I supposed to go? I'm going Norway gold. Not because
There we go.
Not because I agree with you. I'm just going with my heart. I'm going with my heart. Norway gold, USA silver, and Australia bronze.
No, Lithuania not getting
Lithuania not medaling, and Romania not medaling. That's off. I'm taking those. I'm using form. This year, who's been on the better form? Lithuania and Romania are at the bottom of that table. They haven't been in the same form as the Australian, Norwegians, and USA.
I can hear Matthew Griffiths punching the keyboard right now, writing messages to us to prove us wrong with his spreadsheets. But I mean, that is what's so cool about our Patreon group is the knowledge people have.
Outrageous.
You know, you make one claim and people will make sure that you
under the
that you don't forget it.
We've been,
but I love it.
Kept super honest. But that's a wrap for the women's double for the Olympics. Just having a look at the crews. Now moving across into the men's double. Lawrence,
this is
what
the
has
gladiator
happened?
event.
What has? I don't think it's the gladiator event. Whoa! I don't think it's the gladiator event.
You don't think so?
Not a chance.
This is.
It's not.
For this Olympic cycle.
It used to be, but not anymore.
Just read your first line of your first line.
Almost every entry has the potential to medal.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this is the gladiator event. Yeah. No, it is crazy. It is crazy. No, I think this is the gladiator event. It's changed a little bit because let's start by talking about the big news, okay? The last year, you've had the Dutch who are unstoppable. They're easy favorites to win gold.
Yes.
But behind them, it's a flippin' rat race for the next couple of spots. Croatia, who got silver last year, gone to the pair. Italy, who got fourth, but have also been one of the fastest doubles in the world, consistently performing, have now changed their combination. Luca's moved up into the quad, and they've obviously Italy are targeting the quad as their top sculling boat. And one of the rowers from the quad have now moved down into the double. Nicolo Carucci, I don't know if I pronounced that the correct way, but Nicolo is now racing in the double with Matteo Sartori. And that's definitely, while the double's still going to be fast, it's not going to be fast as it used to be. So what that has done, that's opened up the double more than it has been. And now you have...
So you think the Dutch are now solidified?
Solidified. I don't think... I think they're two... After the Dutch, there are two crews that come to mind where I think they have the consistency behind them to say that they are medal favorites. Most of the crews on this list have had one or two good races, or they have a reputation of performing that we're going off. There are only two other crews besides the Dutch that have been consistently putting out good performances. That's the Irish, and that's the Spanish doubles. They've raced the most. They've put out the best performances. So they probably are going to benefit the most and probably smiling, licking their lips, seeing that Italy have changed the combination and Croatia now rowing the pair.
So let's talk about a bit of that history before we go.
Oh, we've just jumped straight in.
Yeah, but we have to jump straight in. But talking about the Sinkoviches, so these guys have set the gold standard of targets. Like all the other events, the world records are incredible, but no one can say that they are the only crew to go under 6 minutes in an event. Or the only crew to break like a massive milestone like that, like if you think of the ergo, how big going under 6 minutes is for, any kind of respectable athlete, then the Sinkoviches have done it in a double, which is
the
just
only
ridiculous.
Crew in history in the men's double to go under 6 minutes.
And, then looking back, the previous world record, 6:03, by the French in 2006, Slovenia in 1999, Istok Chop and Lucas Spick, absolute legends in this bow class. And then before that, 1991, 6:06. So over, Jake, people also were accusing me of some terrible maths. from our last episode. So I don't want to do the quick math there, but it's a lot of years. Over 30 years.
Yeah, what did you say? You said 14 years. You said 14 years or something. I just kept quiet. I didn't know what to do. I just kept quiet. I'm going to let this guy dig his grave.
2012 to 2024 was like 20 years or something like that. But anyway, 33 years, and the record is only changed by 6.2 seconds.
I'm glad you're not managing the books in your business, eh?
I don't spend the money.
No, but it is. But jokes aside, the times are super close. But I do think this is a record that could go. We've got three notable times that have got super close to the 5:59. The Croatians have done it also in 2014 with 6 minutes, but more recently at the Olympic Games, both France and the Netherlands rode on the 6 minute mark. So, the crews that have demonstrated and crews that are racing now, they've demonstrated that they have the capability of going and possibly breaking this record. And I think the French could have broken it at the last Olympics, but they caught a bit of a crab in like the last 20 meters that only limited them to 6 minutes in the heavyweight double.
So going into these crews, Jake, I mean, I think you are spot on. Melvin Trella and Steph Bronick definitely the favorites to come away with a win at this World Champs. I mean, at this Olympic Games. Just massive pedigree, massive results consistently in different boat classes throughout the season cycle. And yeah, I think
easy favorites.
I think the easy favorites.
It's actually hard that they're so good because I was trying to, when I was putting down talking points for the Dutch combination, the only talking point is that they're fast. That's it.
No, but what else? They both raced in the single.
They both raced in the single. Well, not this cycle. Steph Bronick had that incredible race in 2019 in the men's final. We was punching with the world's best. I think he finished fifth or fourth. And then obviously Melvin Tuelo with that unbelievable season in the Skull in 2022. He got silver at World Champs. He won Europeans. One of the few athletes. And
where did they finish in Tokyo?
They finished second, just behind the French.
This combination. So it's kind of like gone full circle back to this combination.
Full circle back to this combination. They definitely have a grudge match to settle. There are a couple of crews in the men's double that have got a score to settle.
And do you think that the French can now bring it back over the season?
I don't know. It's so hard to tell. It's difficult to assess because they haven't raced enough to be able to say that they can be favorites to win gold. Have they got I think the question you should ask, I know I was about to say, the question you should ask is, have they got the ability, the potential to win a gold medal in this event?
The minerals.
What's wrong with it? I do think they have the potential to win gold. However, have they got enough time to get back into that form? Because I know they've been struggling a lot with injury. I know Matteo Androdias has been struggling with injury the last 2 seasons. So it's hard. The only thing that gives me hope is that in 2022 we didn't see them, except for when they rocked up at World Champs and they won. And they had a dominant performance. They haven't really been in that form since 2022, which is a while back, and lots changed since then. But again, it's their home Olympics. They're Olympic champions. They're racing. They probably have the most expectations of the French public. This is something they've probably been building to since the Olympics were announced.
And they have enough experience to deal with that pressure.
They've got enough experience to deal with that pressure. They've got the physiology to do it. So, I think they're definitely not favorites to win. But if there's a crew that can beat the Dutch, I think there's only one crew in this list that can beat the Dutch, and that's the French.
And you don't think the Serbians?
No.
With a little bit of their assistance?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But we'll get into the Serbians. The Serbians are quite an outfield pick.
Serbians / Russia.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I think the French are probably the only crew on this list that have the capabilities of beating the Dutch. But I don't know if they're on the form there.
I think you nailed it there.
Do you think they can beat the Dutch?
I think exactly. I agree with what you said. They have the most potential to beat the Dutch, but have they had enough time? Can they have they dealt with their injuries and other complications enough to get to the point? Because realistically, you have to be able to row under 6 minutes as a double to take this gold medal. Like that, you have to be able to do that. Like,
you realize there's only one crew that's gone under 6 minutes.
Yes, but all of these crews, the Dutch can do it.
The Dutch
they rode under 6:01.
I think the Dutch and the French are the only crews that can do it.
Yeah.
On this list.
Well, I think Serbia might give us a little bit of a surprise.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never know. You never know what's going to happen with them.
Yeah. I have very little trust and faith in them. So I have no doubt that they will come in with a late rattle and get some results. The Irish also really hope that they can pull this one together. They had a very disappointing Tokyo Games.
Yeah, absolutely really disappointing.
They have performed pretty consistently throughout this cycle, and just chipping away and getting back to that kind of performance that they had building up to Tokyo. So I don't know, Jake. I think they can. I'm hoping that they can come.
I want them to finish. If I'm going with as a fan here, I think the Irish are going to get the silver medal. And they have something that many crews in this event don't, and we've spoken about it, is the consistency. No crew besides the Dutch, the Spanish, and the Irish have the consistency over the last couple of years. And, I think that's got a lot to count for when you go into Olympics, and we've spoken about the unpredictability. But I
want to add, I think the piece that's going to make this event so crazy is I think that there's so many crews that can be in the A final. So I agree that the French and the Dutch maybe are a little bit ahead of the rest, but I think the rest of the group is incredibly close. And I think we're going to see heats, semi-finals with the races to make it into the A final, to make it through and, to get those progression spots. Those races are going to be so, so tight, so ferocious that I think you might catch out some of these kind of bigger,
one trick ponies.
Yeah, these bigger countries also that they're trying to, kind of get themselves to the A final in a good position.
Yeah.
And you've got all these crews racing ham to just make it through. And those two races, I think, might start to kind of overlap a little bit and cause some drama.
The heats. I can't wait to see the heats for this event.
Yeah.
They're going to be disgusting.
And actually, it's something I wanted to chat about. Is a lot of these events, 13 crews have qualified for them. So the heats, you're knocking someone out.
You're knocking someone out.
After your repercharge, there's a crew that is going to pack up their boat and go home. I know
which crew's going to go home.
But the pairs, the doubles, a lot of these events
this
unlucky number 13.
It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate.
And you pack up early, eh?
I know. I packed up early in Tokyo. Boy, I went on Wednesday. I understand the feeling. It's tough,
not ideal.
It's not ideal.
And the last crew that I want to chat about is New Zealand.
The last crew? We haven't even scratched the surface here. We haven't even scratched the surface.
Okay, well, the crew I want to chat about is New Zealand. Robbie Manson coming back, racing with Parry. What do you think, Jake? Do you think they can come in with a little bit of thunder?
I think there are a lot of crews that probably have better potential of medaling than they do, but they definitely have the capabilities again to do it. They have been on good form this year, which I think does count for quite a bit. They had a much better race at the third World Cup where they picked up a medal. And even though they've had a lot of limited time together as a crew, but I think Robbie has, you can definitely rely a little bit on his experience, especially coming from the single scull. I think he's got incredible potential to have big races. And even Jordan Parry, he had an exceptional race in the 2022 men's scull when he finished fourth at World Champs. These individuals on their own are exceptionally talented scullers. But the question is, can they combine together and have a good race? But I think they do. Robbie's also a veteran from Rio where he raced the double. So the double's nothing new to him. And I'm sure Jordan's raced many double over the years.
Yeah.
So they're definitely there. I'd say they're definitely more of a wild card on the periphery. I think they need to be able to manage themselves through the knockout rounds to get to the final and the question is, can they perform for most of these crews? Can they put out that performance in the final? I think most of these crews that we were to talk about have an Olympic medal performance in them. However, can they put it out
they might
in the
need
final?
it in
They
the
might need it in the semi.
and then not have the gas to go in the final. And also the weather is playing a part in these close decisions. We've seen video of this race course.
Oh my
it
Lord.
can look fantastic. It can look perfect and smooth and awesome tailwind, but it can also be
an absolute nightmare.
A real humdinger.
Yeah.
And it always just reminds you. I saw a video the other day. It reminded me exactly of Rio. It's massive crosswind blowing and warming up in our heat, and just we couldn't even row. Basically, the water was so rough and nasty. And Sean tells me, he's like, no, they're going to cancel. There's no way. It's not possible that we can race in this condition. And I just had to look across and I pointed to Sean. Sean, the women's single scull has just started. They are racing off. And you better get your head around going down this track because it's going to be ferocious. And that's where Serbia tipped the Dutch, who were
the Dutch pair, they struggled in those conditions.
Big favorites for medals. That games also didn't make it through. So I think it's going to make a big difference. And if the weather is rough, we're definitely going to see more upsets for sure.
And also, I'm just putting it out there to listeners out there. In Rio and in Tokyo, they had to reschedule racing dates because of the weather. So the last couple Olympics, more often than not, the weather has played a part.
Yeah.
So
I hope it's more Tokyo than Rio, though, because I want the fast times.
I want the fast times too. I just hope that. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I just hope for good racing. But let me. No.
Also, we can leave it.
No. I'm nervous because you're just gonna wrap things up. I need to talk about my boys, the Spanish.
Yeah.
You can't not talk about the Spanish. I feel like they don't get enough recognition as a double. I don't often hear people speaking about them the way they should be spoken about, and that's as serious medal contenders and one of the fastest doubles in the world. They've been really consistent. Again, one of those crews that have been super consistent. Second at the 2022 World Champs, and they performed really well at the Europeans this year, picking up a second place, third place at the second World Cup. And they might not be able to be in the podium every single race, but they have a certain level of race experience and race consistency that a lot of these crews lack. And I think they have serious sprinting capabilities that they've shown, especially at the Europeans this year in the absolutely outrageous headwind in an unfavorable lane. They managed to sprint their way onto the podium. So they're definitely a strong contender out there.
Okay, so if you have to put your money on, you're not giving us the podium. Who is taking the bronze medal at this Olympic Games?
In the men's double?
I know who I want, but I don't know who is.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you who I want to be on the podium this Olympics, and I'll tell you who I think is going to be on the podium.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Gold, easy games.
Look at the camera. Tell
easy
the
games.
People.
I'll tell the people. Gold, Netherlands. Silver, Ireland. Bronze, France.
Jeez.
And then
You built your Spanish boys up so high. Then
I'd say that's
under the bus.
That's off form. Okay, now going off my heart. Gold, Netherlands. Silver, France. Bronze, Romania. No, I'm joking.
Get out of here.
Bronze is Ireland. No, those three
Ireland,
crews,
I think.
those three
would
crews.
be cool.
No, those three crews.
What I actually want to see though in this event, which will make for me, it'll make the event amazing, is if the French do come with massive potential and performances, and they box with the Dutch, because I think that they're the ones who can, and it'll be awesome to see if they do.
Yeah,
like if they come, if the French come and they, under pressure and they're boxing kind of middle of the field, that's, it's going to leave that gold medal too wide open for the Dutch, and I want to see the tight race.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just so many crews here. I mean, now to talk about a bit more on the wild card guys that don't have the same racing consistency. You have the Americans who had an exceptional performance at the World Cup in 2023 in Varese, where they took the Italians all the way to the line. I think they rode world record pace to the 1K. But they rode a really fast time to the 1K. Had terrible world champs that had to go through late qualifiers, so they haven't raced the rest of the world yet. But they're based off their speed potential. They're definitely right out there in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The Germans are having a really good season, and one of the few German boats that are sort of in the conversation for potentially winning a medal. They've been around as a combination for a while. They're both under 23 champions in the single scull, and they definitely seem to have made a breakthrough this year, picking up a medal at the third World Cup and placing on the podium at Europeans. And don't forget that most of these countries are European, so Europeans is a really good indicator on a country's ability. You have the Serbians, who you were giving some shit from earlier, who are super outside field and have had the most outrageous selection this year. The pair got the pair of Martin Makovic and Milos Vacic didn't get selected as the pair. So then they put a scratch. No, let me tell you, they went to Pedaluca, okay?
Yes.
Martin and Milos. Milos got injured, so they couldn't race the pair at Pedaluca. So Martin got into a scratch combinations with Nikolaj Pimenov in the double. Scratch combination. And Martin can obviously row the scull fast, but he hasn't had racing experience. They beat the Italian combination by 3 seconds. And that was a full strength combination of Luca and Matteo. So obviously this has caused a big stir in the Serbian Federation. And at the last sort of second, they reselected and reallocated a position for Serbian double at the last chance regatta. And they came second to the USA, and they got their spot for the Olympics. So they have zero racing experience. And, Nikolaj has a little bit of a shady history with coming from Russia and their controversies. But in the double, I think they're definitely going to be in the mix in terms of their speed capabilities. And we'll see. I was quite happy for Martin after the drama with the pair and stuff that he managed to get a good spot at the Olympics in the double. So I think they even have a good shot of making gold. But Lawrence, even despite them, you have the Romanians who won Europeans this year. You have Chetel Borg, who's the Olympic medalist in there. You have the Chinese, who are also Olympic medalists in there.
Yeah.
So it's outrageous. Everyone on this list, is crazy.
I do think it does come down to like who's had the best build up. And I know it sounds obvious, but like these last few months are going to be crucial for every single crew. Yeah.
There's only one crew here that I think sticks out a little bit with the lack of experience racing a double, and that's the Long Courage brothers in the double. I think Croatia. From Croatia. I just don't think they have had the experience in the men's double to be able to box with the rest of the field here. So I think they're the only ones that might find the field quite tough at the Olympic Games.
For sure.
But
you can only wait and see.
You can only wait and see. 1 week to go.
Jake, I think that's been an absolute cracker episode. Very, very cool to go through all these doubles and a lot of good racing. And as I said, it just doing these episodes just making me so excited for how much depth there is at the Olympics. How, it's not only who's racing for that Olympic medal, it's who's racing to make the A final, who's racing, there's other races down the whole field that is so exciting. And I literally cannot wait to be at the race course, watching from next week. It's going to be flipping awesome.
Definitely.
And yeah, guys, if you watch our video, thanks so much. This is our first one, so we'll see how.
Number one. We've toyed with this idea in the past, but now we actually get it.
We'll see if we actually manage to get this thing up.
We don't really speak too soon. So if you're just listening and you're not watching this,
there might be some technical issues. If you've looked on YouTube and there's nothing to be found, but hopefully I'll get it up and we'll see.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Shout out to our Patreon. You guys are the best. Those listening out there or watching, if you want to support us in a meaningful way, you can check us out on Patreon. Otherwise, just, spread the word, follow us on Instagram and, we find word of mouth is still the king of marketing. So, just support us out there. But thanks a lot. We'll see you on the next one for who we talking about?
The singles.
The singles.
Yeah.
So check us out for the singles
Awesome.
next time round.
Thanks so much. Ciao.
Cheers, guys.